Hello everybody! You know, Genshin has a lot of characters that people consider bad or straight up unplayable, and whenever somebody says it, it always sounds to me like a challenge. So today I decided to build a team around one of those characters and see how well they perform. We'll see how much damage they can deal, try different teams, and hopefully clear Abyss. For today I decided to go with Amber. As you may know, she doesn't have much things to offer. None parts of her kit provide any sort of buff, so she's obviously not gonna be support. You technically can use her sub DPS since Baron Bunny can deal damage off field, but that's not very interesting. We are definitely looking for main DPS Amber. There are some things I wanna follow. First of all, it needs to be an Amber team. I obviously can't put her 3 other strong characters and they'll clear Abyss with or without her. Second, it doesn't need to be a hyper carry, but Amber should deal most damage in a team, so no soundly shenanigans. Third, I wanna avoid using any bugs or unintended features, as well as very complicated techniques. Fourth, if possible, Amber needs to contribute something unique to the team and not be like yet another plunge DPS with Cyanine. And I'll try not to use heavily invested characters, or at the very least will strongly handicap them. Well, let's now take a look at Amber's kit and what we can build around. So, as any other bow character, she has normal physical attack and pyro-infused charge attack. In her skill, she has a Baron Bunny, which at first may seem like completely useless thing. After all, it barely deals any damage and takes forever to explode. But there are some constellations that significantly improve it. Besides usual C5 that improves talent level by 3, her C2 and C4 also benefit the skill. C2 allows you to manually explode it, which results in tripling the damage. Well, not exactly tripling. This 200% bonus damage actually works additively with other damage percent sources, which means if we already have Farina or someone similar, it won't be as insane. C4 allows her to have up to 2 charges of Baron Bunny and decreases cooldown from 15 seconds to just 12. If we make our rotation last at least 24 seconds, it means we'll be able to use the doll twice. Unfortunately, I don't have her C6, but essential constellations have been obtained, so Baron Bunny dream is not just over yet. And her rule just deals bunch of damage on pretty short cooldown of 12 seconds as well. Only problem, it's not one big hit, but instead bunch of small ones, which means we can't melt or vaporize on it. So that gives me 3 overall ideas. Let's cover them one by one. First one, we can do normal attack physical Amber. We probably want superconduct, so I'll include C6 Rosaria and Fischl. In the last spot, we can either use Bennett or Yunjin, both are pretty good options in this scenario. Since Amber's personal damage isn't as high as traditional DPS's, I think additive damage from Yunjin will work better than attack buff from Bennett. As Mike said, I chose Shimenawa, that I definitely farm specifically for Amber and not just stole from Yoimiya. For weapon, I went with Scarlet Harp that's just been laying around. High base attack should make up for lack of Bennett, and overall 60 CV isn't ever bad. Additionally, its passive will work fairly often since we do play Amber on field. I understand that Scour Harp isn't exactly a free-to-play weapon, but if you don't have it, you can always use Rust. I did double crown Amber, and I definitely don't regret it. Definitely. It was all worth it. Other characters have their generic builds, nothing too insane. Rosaria with Catch and 30 Emblem, Fischl with Stringless and build for Aggravate, which is totally useless. And Yunjin just full defense with Fav. So let's see how it goes. Since Hoa refused to add a training dummy, today our punching bag will be premature with Sharp. Abyss isn't getting any easier, so we wanna deal at the very least 20k DPS to even have a chance at succeeding. This big boy has almost 800,000 HP, which means we need to kill it within 40 seconds. And while I'm sure such god gamer as me wouldn't usually have any problems, I have already died 5 times before this attempt. Something tells me even if it's enough damage, I will have big problems in Abyss. Another issue I have is that it doesn't seem like a team specifically made for Amber. I mean, Pyro isn't even being used, Baron Bunny is thrown just to get Shimenawa buffs and all she does is just normal attacking. That's why this is just the first team, it'll be our threshold. If it ends up being the best one, we will use it to reach better results. But if one of the next performs better, we will definitely use them instead. Final time ended up being 42 seconds, a little above our goal but still technically passable. Once again, it's not preferred team, but if we have to, we can use it. Second idea is Charge Attack Amber. You know, kinda like Ganyu but without big damage. Thanks to C1, we will deal 20% more damage as long as both arrows actually hit. We wanna melt on each hit, so first pick is consistent cryo applier. First thing that comes to mind is again Rosaria, but I have a better pick. We could use Ganyu instead. Not many people think of her as sub DPS, but she actually does an amazing job. Her ult lasts longer, deals more damage and can potentially hit several targets with one icicle if they are close enough. Though even better option is Farina, even though her high application isn't as amazing, it should be enough for charge shots. We would need a healer with her, but there is gonna be a pretty good option later. Even though I usually play without a shielder, I think this time we will need it. There are only 2 reasonable options, Zhongli with his 20% resistance shred and Diona. Diona will provide 200 EM with C6 as well as potential 15% crit rate from Cryo Resonance, and I also don't have Zhongli, so Diona is my choice. For last spot, I don't think we have better pick than Bennett as attack buffer and somewhat of a healer for Farina, so we'll go with him. Unfortunately, there isn't enough space face for Vendessa Banner, so damage may be not very high. This time I once again use Coward Harp, but as for said, I'll go with Wanderer's Troop. Bennett has usual noblesse with Hayar and Aquila, Deona is with Favonius and Clam, and for Furina we have something special. You see, Furina is the only C6 character on my account, and as you may know, C6 Furina is insanely powerful character. To not let her overpower Ember, I'll replace her signature with Favonius and use all artifacts at +0. I can't know for certain, but it should perform worse than usually built to 0 Furina. You know, it really helps that boss revival time is now just couple seconds, because every single time I visit Geovi shop, it's Pyro. Honestly, I have no idea why it took them so long. 3 minutes revival time was atrocious. Hopefully they'll change Andrews soon too. Well, back to the team. Unlike previous one, it actually has decent protection in form of both shield and heal. Bennett alone is usually not enough to max Furina's stacks, but Deona's overheal should help that a bit. Reminding our goal is to clear it within 40 seconds and preferably faster than a physical team. Honestly, I like this one a lot more, since it's not as vulnerable and doesn't really require you to sit near enemies. It also has slightly better AoE damage, though it's hardly noticeable. And as you can see, it is in fact faster than physical, which is why now this is our prime candidate for Abyss. 38 seconds is time we are looking for, and while it's not insane amount of damage, I think it may be just enough for 9 stars. But before making final call, let's see last team. And third idea is honestly my favorite because it revolves around Baron Bunny. As I explained earlier, Baron Bunny gets quite a few buffs through constellations. And there is also an amazing set Golden Troop that buffs skill damage by up to 70%. Only problem, will only have 2 seconds to detonate, otherwise 25% of it will be lost. This team needs to be more quick swappy since Ember doesn't have much to do on field. Because of that, we'll prioritize characters with lower skill cooldown, and damage distribution of the team will probably be less heavy on Ember. But can you really say it's not Ember team when it's literally built around Baron Bunny? Yeah, that's what I thought. Team is gonna actually be very similar to previous one. Only replacement we'll make is Kazuha instead of Deona, since we don't need shield as much. Bennett's and Furina's builds are exactly the same. Kazuha has Favonius with VV and as much EM as I can give to him, and Ember is using Golden Troop and as you guessed it's Coward Harp. Rotation is gonna be a little bit awkward since we wanna have Hydro on enemy when Baron Bunny explodes. We also need to swirl Pyro with Kazuha, which means he will apply Pyro himself. Furina may take a while to remove and reapply Hydro alone. There isn't much I can do about it, and sit here for hours calculating perfect rotation isn't my style, so I'll just bash my head against Java Shop couple times and pick best attempt. Yeah, I know it's not perfect, but I highly doubt I'd be able to consistently do that perfect rotation in Abyss anyway. Actually, I'm not too sure if Cry would be better in this team instead of Furina. As I said before, 200% damage buff from C6 is additive, so Furina isn't gonna do as much as usual. And as you know, Reverse Vaporize we do here has only 1.5x base multiplier, while Melt would have 2x. Anyway, if you wanna test it out with Gani or Rosario, be my guest, and please let me know in the comments how it goes. To my surprise and absolute delight, Baron Bunny outperformed both physical and charge attack builds. Were those runs done perfectly without any mistakes? No, but neither did this one. And to be honest, I'm all down for any opportunity to call Baron Bunny Ember's strongest build. So now that said, this is gonna be the team we will attempt to use in Abyss. This rotation second half of floor 11 demands a lot of Hydra, which this team doesn't have, so we will play first half. Second I just filled with double Hydra Alekina, but it's irrelevant, we just wanna know if Ember's time is good enough. So let's begin. While my Abyss run is happening on background, I'll be explaining some stuff. First of all, this Abyss is insanely hard, not even for Ember, but overall one of the hardest in a long time. Of course I didn't have problems with my best teams, but even they cleared with only 20 to 30 seconds left. I could wait for next rotation and hope it's easier for better results, but I figured what could be better showcase than actually hard Abyss. In first chamber we have 4 different waves of enemies, which isn't very good for us. A lot of our skills are stationary, which means we are losing a lot of damage. It really seems that Hoyo are trying to make Abyss hard the most annoying way possible. These 2 giant robots have insane amount of HP, but that's not the biggest problem. They constantly move around, and grouping them is hell. If one gets randomly stunned away from another, you can easily add 20 seconds to your time. And yeah, runs you're gonna be seeing are best from several attempts I did. It's not insane super lucky runs that would happen once in a lifetime, but my average time would usually be 5 to 10 seconds slower. That being said, they're also not perfect, as this was my first time playing this team, so in theory it could be even faster. Truth be told, I already felt myself getting better with each restart, so probably if I just returned and played this chamber again, I would have gotten better time. These Eremites are also big RNG factor, since beast movement is unpredictable and I need to kill them as fast as possible. The fact that these two not only receive infinitely reduced damage while their pets are alive, but also turn into immovable objects is incredibly frustrating. There might be a way to manipulate them and and get way better spawn, but since I don't know it, all I could do is to bash my head against the wall. I had few attempts but they grouped perfectly, but unfortunately this wasn't one of them. I had to wait for bird to come to me, and fortunately it happened, so clear was still pretty fast. My goal was to get 1 minute 30 seconds clear for each chamber, or somewhere around that, since it's exactly half of time given for you if you are trying to get 9 stars. Minute 33 is pretty nice time to start with, actually on par with my aggravate teams, which pleasantly surprised me. Genki is an ideal enemy for us since most of our damage is AoE, but in total it isn't a big threat because he has very little HP. What you see on the screen is just my second attempt, in first one I just died. Because of Banned, Genki's ghost can deal massive cryo damage, which I definitely did not expect. I'm generally used to avoiding damage by dashing, but having only one chance for mistake isn't ideal. Not gonna lie, seeing Furina deal 3k damage per hit was very sad, I hope yours deal way more. This boss also moves around quite a bit, but with a little bit of planning and luck it didn't cause any problems. Honestly, I feel like this boss is embodiment of what I said before, they're just trying to make a beast frustrating. Obviously dealing slightly over 1 million damage is not that hard now, but when it got released it was a tough task. On top of that, it wastes so much time being invincible twice per fight. And yeah, I did get lucky that he barely moved, but he also may jump around literally after every single attack, making you chase him. Overall, as I predicted, this was very fast and squishy boss, by far the easiest thing you can face in a beast nowadays. Pretty sure 1 minute clear is possible, but 112 is already very good. Third chamber by far caused me the most problems, since you're usually supposed to play aggravate or at least electric to stun it. Without either, it effectively stays invincible for almost half of the time. Also, as you may see, I never restarted the beast from the beginning to get full ultimates each time, I wanted it to be as close to my usual abyss run as possible. Against Genki it wasn't as big of a deal, but with Pyramid I could have easily saved 5 or even 10 seconds if I had everything available. Since it's a quick swappy team, changing order of characters a bit wasn't as big of a deal on paper, but in reality it threw me off my gameplay so much. You can even see a lot of awkward waiting for skill cooldown happening in this run. Also, this experiment made me realize how much damage Amber Salt actually deals, and it's surprisingly a lot. I low-key regret not leveling it up, but I think I already invested enough. You know, I absolutely hate this boss for 2 main reasons. One, if you can stun it, it has so little time on field that you can't even do one full rotation. I have to set up while simultaneously destroying structures. Just one mistake and my preparation gets destroyed and I lose massive amounts of damage. Second, arguably even bigger problem is targeting. You can't imagine how many times my Amber ulted Invincible Pillar, or Bennett did the same with his skill and ult. Usually it leads the skill completely with the boss, which results in a big loss of damage. I literally have to wait for it to appear before doing anything, since even running away from pillars didn't help. Obviously getting 90 seconds clear was close to impossible, maybe somebody who plays better than me could do it. I always need to do 3 full rotations, so only thing I could really control is how fast it reappears. I tried saving my ults and skills to destroy structures as fast as possible, but it didn't always work. Damage I dealt to those things always resulted in something completely random. In the end, I was able to get 1 minute 42 seconds clear, which in my book for this boss is a win. Once again, here's my build for Amber, which is definitely on the better side, but absolutely reachable. You can make your own call whether you think Amber performed good or not. I am more than satisfied with this performance, so I consider this experiment a success. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and maybe other weak characters that you'd like to see next. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like and subscribe to help out the channel. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day!